So I really like stuff. And anyone that knows me knows that that's entirely true, too true. And I have a bad tendency of going through gear quickly. But in this instance, I actually have had my Yamaha HS7s for 10 years now. I can't believe it that I've had them this long. It's pretty insane to think that this has been my main reference point for the last 10 years. But I really enjoy them. They're extremely easy to use. They're straight up plug and play, set them up, move on. So obviously I'm gonna be a fan because, you know, the easier to use and the better they sound, the better they are, right? Well, after 10 years of using them, I thought maybe it's time for an upgrade. Let's see what else is out there. And I think it's pretty easy to make the statement that, you know, the brand KRK is extremely identifiable. There's no other monitor out there that has a big blackened casing with a yellow cone on it. You know, upon seeing it, you know what a KRK is the moment you set your eyes on it. And I love that. I love that it's so iconic in that way. You know, so I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm using these. I'd love to move up. Would you send me some? So they did, and I've now got the KRK Rocket 8. I'm gonna set up both sets of monitors. I'm gonna put my KRKs just right on top. I'm gonna take this microphone that I'm talking to right now overhead. I'm gonna drop it down a little bit, and I'm just gonna record an A-B reference. So you can hear what the HS7 sound like, and then you can hear what the KRK sound like. I'm not gonna do this perfectly. I'm not gonna set them up so that the field is perfect. I'm not gonna set them up so that they're on the desk. I'm just gonna stack them, and we're just gonna see what they sound like out of the box and see if they can sound good in spite of how I didn't set them up well. Because I've got a feeling that most people don't know exactly how to set them up, me included. So I think it's gonna be an interesting test to have them a little bit wonky, you know, and see if they still sound good. Because if they can sound good, not perfectly set up, then odds are they're only gonna sound even better once they're set up correctly. So super excited. Let's go ahead and dive in and see what these sound like. Okay, there's clearly a difference here as you look at the back of both of these side by side. The KRKs have an LED screen, the Yamahas do not. The KRKs use the dual balance, so you can do an XLR or a 1/4 inch, where the Yamahas are going to be either or. So if I unplug these, you can see right over here, we've got one of each. I don't mind that so much, but I definitely prefer the ability to do either in one. I think that's a little more intuitive, a little simpler to use. Beyond that, when you're looking at the dial here, you see that at 0 it's at min, 100 is max obviously, and then in the center it has that typical notch, so it kind of grabs it, and that's at +4 dB. Where here, so it's kind of hard to make out exactly what it says on the camera, but it says press the knob to access menu. So as I was saying a second ago, you can see here that the volume is changing up, down, you know, but it's actually showing you the exact decibel removal or addition. So right now I'm at -4.2. If I go to the right, I'm now at 0.5. And it's just constantly giving me the exact, so I'm not having to wonder what it is I'm doing, where I'm at, what my levels are, and so on. As opposed to the Yamaha that doesn't show that. It's just +4 in the middle, and so then you're having to do a little bit of math from here to there. Now, as far as the menu goes on the Rocket 7s, click and it takes you to EQ, setup, and back. So if I wanted to do an EQ and I wanted to change how the KRK sounded, I would just go into the EQ and I can start messing around and choosing if I wanted, you know, add a low pass or keep it flat or whatever the case might be. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm not going to dig in and I'm not going to add a low pass or a high pass or whatever. I'm going to keep it flat because these have a similar ability, but as you can see, it's room control and then high trim. So high trim is at 0 and room control is at 0. So I'm not going to change anything. These are going to be totally flat. We're just going to listen to them to see how they sound. But for right now, the point of this backside demonstration is to show you just how simple the KRKs are, even though it's digital. You would expect that this would be a little more complicated, but it's really, really simple, really clean, and really, really well made. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back over here and then get this all stacked up. Okay, so they obviously look pretty sweet stacked on top of each other, but I'm definitely not going to use it this way. This makes enough sense for me to justify because it looks cool, but I couldn't do this all day. I'd probably go crazy because I would want to be switching back and forth and A-Bing and just play with them. So I'm going to just do this for now because it makes the most sense in trying to get this comparison done. All right, now let's set up the other side. So there is something I wanted to point out on the second speaker that I didn't point out on the first. Something that I really like about these is that it comes with a soft pad on the bottom. So it's already able to absorb some of the desk junk that you get with standard speakers. The Yamaha HS7s don't have it. It just runs flat. So all that extra vibration, all that extra stuff that's getting in the way of the sound is there. It's in the way. So that's what the HS7s have done, where this one is coming loaded with an absorber there to take out some of that junk that I don't want to hear. I'm gonna go ahead and say it again because I know I'm gonna get fried if I don't. This is not a proper setup. I know this is not how it should go. This is not how I'm going to set it up. This is not the final. I did this to get it in place so that we can do an A/B and see what it sounds like against the HS7s. So hold on to your comments. I'm completely aware that this is not the right way. It's just for comparison purposes. Now, with all that out of the way, these things just look good. They really give a nice pop. I thought I really liked the clean white, but I like having some color now, having the yellow and black. I think it looks great. I like the logo placement. One of the things I forgot to point out in the menu of the KRKs is that you actually have the ability to turn them on standby from the menu and not just by powering them on and off. So if you wanted to walk up and take them out of standby so that you can use them but save power, then you can do so. The other thing is you can turn the logo off. I don't know about you, but I run my monitors 24 hours a day. I just leave them on. So if I wanted to turn the light off that you're seeing right there up front, right here, then you could do so, ultimately saving the light. You know they're on. It doesn't really matter if the indicator shows you or not. All right, now with that, let's go ahead and compare them and see what they sound like. The HS7s versus the KRK Rocket 7s. Guys, these things are so good. I spent another probably 60 seconds after the video was over, after that last clip, and just listened to them. Just cranked them up and just listened to them. And the first two things I noticed were lower lows while maintaining clarity. There wasn't muddiness, and higher highs with better articulation where I'm hearing guitar parts that I hadn't heard before. They just sound fantastic. I know that they're just out of the box and I've got under 5 minutes of playtime with them, so I'm not really familiar with what they're doing, but I did immediately notice a difference in sound and just how how much clearer these are. So if you're considering and you're in the market for some new studio monitors, I would definitely already suggest the KRK Rocket 7s. So far, so good. Thank you so much, KRK family, for sending me these. I can't wait to push these to their limits and see what they can do. Hey, you viewer, click subscribe. There's no reason not to. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay tuned.